Welcome back to CETV with the Saul man Frank. Here we are at Camera Electronic, and we're going to be talking about an awesome new exciting lens. We've got a great guest with us, and can't wait to tell you all about it. Welcome, John Miller. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Saul. How are you?
Very well, mate. We're really pleased to have you here. Amazing career as a professional photographer. Couldn't think of anyone better to test out this exciting new lens from Nikon. What have we got here?
They've got a winner. I'm just going to put that out there. It was great. I really enjoyed working with it. It's very close to my go-to, which is the 24-70 f4 that came with, that comes out with the Nikon Z7.
Great.
That's what I used to test this one with. I really enjoyed the fact that it's actually another stop. So in low light conditions, I get that extra stop. Which is really nice. What I also found that I liked, especially when I was out shooting, say, architecture and stuff like that, was that at full 28, the lines weren't converging in and stuff. So that was real nice.
So you got a 28 to 75.
28 to 75.
2.8 all the way through.
Yeah.
Nice.
The focusing was good. Clarity was good. Color's good. That little extra 5mm is a sweetheart to have in the studio, especially if you're using a 24-70 all the time.
Oh, okay, outside the 75 end, yeah.
Yeah.
It is interesting because so many lenses going way back were 35-70, 28-70, 24-70, and now Nikon come out with one with 5mm. Like, why?
Yeah,
when would you ever use that?
I was going to say that's what threw me off initially was, okay, so we have the 24-70, and then all of a sudden we got this 28 to 75.
Yeah, it's weird.
And I'm like, okay, so we're losing 4mm on one side, and we're adding 5mm on the other side.
And that 4mm makes a big difference on the wide end. Where does the 5 come in?
Well, the 5, believe it or not, the 5 makes a big difference as well, because when you stop to think about it, you go usually, let's say you're shooting portraits, you're usually going to go from 70, if you're going to go kind of semi-wide with the portraits, you're going to use anywhere from the 50 to 70, and then you're going to jump to 85, and then 105.
That's a sweet spot.
So this is kind of like in the middle. This is like, you spin that all the way out to 75, and you get this nice little sweet spot. I found in the studio, and especially because I have a home studio, my distance isn't that great.
No. So that'll be really useful. Then it gives you that pinch of tightness to bring in.
I was able to do full body.
Yep.
Okay, and get in close. Oh, and that's another thing that I loved about this. The closest focusing distance.
I did notice that. It's crazy.
My goodness, it was insane. It was so close. I couldn't have been no more than a few meters away. And I mean, a lot closer than I can get with this, let's put it that way.
I mean, from a spec point of view, it says it on the lens here, 0.19 of a meter, so that's insane.
Yeah, that's really insane.
And while we're on sort of, the exciting spec type talk, 565 grams. That's crazy. I mean, and we love the 24-70 2.8, but that's 800 grams, does a different job. So to have a lens that's 2.8 all the way through, I mean, when I was first coming up, they were always heavy 2.8 lenses.
I was going to say okay, so for me, this is my go-to, which is the 24-70, and it's light.
F4.
Okay, F4, but it's an F4.
Yeah.
Okay. Put this on, and I was out doing street photography, and yes, it's a little longer. Yes, people were kind of watching me.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was still a beauty to work with, and everything else that I was shooting, people wasn't paying attention. So it's really good. I think what Nikon did was they priced this one and put the range of it just, they slipped in right where a lot of people tend to switch brands to go for an inexpensive 24-70. Well, they don't have to do that anymore.
No, you can stick within the whole Nikon ecosystem, and everything's Nikon.
Yeah.
And obviously, I mean, they know their cameras, so their lenses are going to color match perfectly when it comes to image quality.
Yep.
So if you can stick within your own brand, why not?
Exactly. Speaking of, you know, the results, like I shot everything from, like I said, I shot street photography with it. I did some studio work with it. I did a little bit of architecture with it, and I did some video with it. Yeah. And I was really pleased with the results. Pretty much spot on with this one here, and it's what I expected to see. I mean,
any aperture within there would be as sharp as within there.
You know, and that's the other thing. I was testing it wide open.
Yeah, right.
Constantly.
All throughout the zoom range?
No, well, I test all the zoom range, yes, but I mean, I was more interested because, you know, when you take a lens and go full open with it, you know, 2.8, you kind of expect it to be a little soft here and there, you know?
Yes, that's right.
Nah, not this baby.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that was impressive because what I focused on, it was sharp. It was sharp, and the result was that. So I was real pleased with that. Very shallow depth of field between that. Like I was doing a shot at 2.8, then I switched to 3.2, and just to compare what the depth of field was like, it's very.
Where are you changing the aperture on the camera? Because I did notice you've got a wheel here.
Yeah.
Is that for?
That's for focusing.
Okay, so it's not like a stepless aperture wheel for video or anything?
No, that's for focusing.
Oh, yeah, cool. And I know we talked off air about this. It's actually a really nice filter thread. It's small, it's 67.
Yeah. Now, for those that have the 72, you're going to have to get a step down.
Yeah, that's right.
Ring to put on that to use it.
Call camera electronic?
Yeah. It's just so happened that I had some 67s from, I don't know, I think they come from whoever. But so I was able to put a neutral density filter on it and give it a run.
That's the other cool thing with 2.8. At least you can use an ND filter.
Yeah. It was a real pleasure to work with. I was out shooting yesterday and I didn't have it with me, and it was like, oh, you know, I could have used this one.
We'll have to do a deal off air. We'll talk about that, the special price.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I think they did hit a sweet spot. You know, when you look at some of the other lenses that are around that are in a similar price point, you'll go out to 24, but then you'll gain weight, you'll gain filter thread size and all that other sort of stuff. So it's just a slick bit of kit, and it gets you around for all kinds of photography, as you're saying, from street to portrait to. There's a general all-rounder.
It's a very good all-arounder. I think what I was struggling to find, because, you know, this is the S version, which is their pro version of it, and this is the non-S version. And I really had a hard time trying to figure out besides there's no buttons. If you notice, there are no buttons on here or switches or anything. It's just a plain stock standard lens with a nice focusing ring. Unfortunately, I didn't use the focusing ring that much because I tend to do all my focus through the autofocus and all that. But it just had a nice feel to it. It actually reminded me, it took me back to my earlier days of having a camera and a lens, and you could feel that focusing ring when you're holding it.
Yeah.
So if you want to switch into manual and go forward, it was just, I'm sure it would have been really quite easy to do. But it is a very well balanced. Oh, that's the other thing. This lens on this baby, nice balance. You can hold it.
And the zoom ring is really big. So it's actually super easy to just zoom away.
Very easy.
Yeah, much easier to get your hands on and get a grip on it. And what about video? Did you get to have a little bit of a play with video?
I did play with the video for a little while. I did not find it awkward or cumbersome or anything like that. As a matter of fact, to be perfectly honest, it got to a point where I didn't even realize that this was any different than the 24-70.
Yeah, which, as you said, it is the S range, and I know why Nikon do that.
Yeah, well, you know, I think where they're marketing this or where they're pushing this for that particular group of people who will switch brand for 24-70 to get it a little less expensive. That's really what this is. This plugs that hole up, you know, for them. And to be perfectly honest,
it's like half the price. So.
Yeah, and to be perfectly honest, I mean, why would you want to switch over if you can get a lens that actually performs as good or better than some of the 24-70s out there within your brand, that is within the Nikon brand, and you know, you're not. I don't know. You know, you're just your kit now is all Nikon.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to find they're going to probably release a few more lenses along that line.
It is clever.
Because this is
clever.
you know, the non S brand. I mean, some brands, and I'm not going to mention any names, but you can tell the difference between the professional and the professional grade lens and the non-professional grade lens. And that's why I test this mainly wide open.
Yeah.
Was because if you're going to see a difference, it's going to be around that area, because your sweet spot's always going to be a sweet spot around 5.6 to 11, something like that. But your areas that you will
But you need that 2.8, that's why you buy that lens. And
by all
if it's
means,
not going to be sharp wide open, then
especially for me, like I was telling you earlier, I like to walk the city at night. I shoot from 1 to 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And I have a little project that I'm working on, and I use just the existing light.
Are we allowed to talk about that project on it?
You could mention it. Basically, it's a project where I shoot. It's called Bright Light in Dark Places. So wherever there's a street light or light on the door, I look for something in that vicinity of where that light spans out to find something interesting.
Those would be cool shots, and you can muck around with ISO and stuff. If you've got the right glass and you're wide open,
normally you got to take your ISO up pretty high because see, I don't use a tripod, I don't use a monopod. These are little games I play with myself, basically, in helping me become a better photographer. Because I push myself to these extremes to try and do things. Or, maybe it's just the look of a nice, beautiful black and white that's really high contrast because it's either white or it's dark,
Yeah, we should hear some comments. What are you guys thinking about? Push the ISO or get a brighter lens?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, after seeing this perform at 2.8, and I have the F-mount 2.8, so when I do want a 2.8, I use my F-mount with the FTZ on here. Well, that's weight.
Yeah.
Okay, that's weight. And if
and
you're walking around,
if
you're walking around for 3 hours, you start to feel that.
Yeah.
Put this on there, and now the weight's gone.
Beautiful.
You got everything you need, and you can bring your ISO down too as well.
Yeah, it's funny. We were talking about it off air that Nikon's mirrorless system is really actually done very well, and it feels like it's only been out a short time, but they've had the Z system now for 3-4 years, so it's well mature, great range of lenses, so you really have everything you need. As they keep building on the S, the Pro range, and the non-S range, everyone's covered.
Yep, I can tell you one thing for sure, and that is, if anyone hasn't switched over to the Z system, have a friend or come into Camera Electronics and talk to Saul. Get yourself onto a Z system, and I guarantee I guarantee you'll be switching over. I mean, a friend of mine brought, Sean, he brought his over.
Yep.
I was out shopping for a new one, like immediately. And I have the 850 as well, and as you well know, that's a serious workhorse.
That's a beast. The
it's a
850,
beast.
You should own that as well.
But it is not
Camera Electronics.
But it's my backup to this.
Yeah.
Not the other way around.
Right.
Which is I bought it to be the other way around.
But this is fun to use. This is fun to use.
Sweetheart.
It's a beautiful bit of kit.
Take it everywhere.
Mate, thank you so much. It was really insightful. We learned a lot about the lens and about the way you shoot, and you've actually given us some tips and tricks about street photography and low light photography. So, John, really appreciate you being here, and thanks so much.
Thanks for having me, Saul.
Cheers, guys.
Excellent.
Thanks a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching CETV with John Miller, with the Soul Man Frank. Huge thanks. These lenses from Nikon are in stock now, 28 to 75, 2.8, 565 grams. If you like this video or love this video, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, check out our other socials, cameraelectronic.com.au, and even head over to our other business, wanderlustperth.com.au. Love to see you in any of our stores or even on our socials. Check us out. Thanks so much, guys.